What's up, guys? This is Kendall. I'm here with my brother EJ. We're here to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the new Disney Plus streaming service, and how we think there are 5 shows, or 6 shows rather, that should be introduced into the Disney Plus streaming service from Marvel. We each have 3 ideas of our own. We can start with you, EJ. What are some of your ideas for the Disney Plus streaming service?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about the streaming service. One thing to note, obviously, there are pitches that have already been made, pilots that are on the way. We know there's a Loki show, a Scarlet Witch and Vision show. There may be a Groot and Rocket show, a Winter Soldier Falcon show. Obviously, we're not going to just name shows that already may be in production. We're talking about new ideas that we think would be great for the Disney Plus app for Marvel. So I'm going to start off my first idea. I think that this one is pretty easy to me. I'm surprised I haven't heard it brought up yet. I wrote a piece about it for the hub.news. Check it out. I think the Dora Milaje would be an awesome choice for a show on the Disney Plus app. For one, the Black Panther, you can argue, is maybe, I don't think you can argue. Right now, it is the solo biggest movie money-making franchise Marvel has in this Marvel Studios umbrella right now. We saw the kind of global phenomenon that movie was when it dropped last February. And if you're looking at a movie and expanding on a universe like Wakanda, like the characters, like so many of the characters and tribes that they showed in that movie, what better way to do that than in a 6, 7, 8, story episode season of characters involved in the Dora Milaje. We know Denai Guerrera, Harry has a history on television. She has a following. So her being the lead character for a TV show is definitely not foreign or not out of reach for someone like her. And we know that those characters are super hot. The Black Panther characters are super hot right now. And diversity is super hot right now. And there is nothing on TV like a team, a task force, special forces that are all women, all black women. That's a really unique perspective, and that would be, I think, something really special if Marvel took a look at that. I think that would be a great idea. I think that a Miss Marvel show would be a great idea. I know we spoke about a Miss Marvel TV show in a really old video we did about a year and a half ago, talking about what shows could be. And I think that if you're doing a Disney Plus app, kind of on the same line of what we were talking about with Dora Milaje, to me, again, the Captain Marvel franchise looks like it could end up being a blockbuster property. So if you can expand on that in any way, if there aren't any future plans for a Miss Marvel movie, which right now we just don't know, we haven't heard anything. If that's not the case, then, well, again, what better way to kind of expand that franchise and the characters in that universe than exploring someone like Miss Marvel, who has been having a growing following in the comic book universe and the comic book fandom. She's super unique. Again, diversity. You got talking about a Muslim girl from New Jersey, and I know they've kind of ran away from the Inhumans, but there's any way you want to try to infuse the Inhumans in some way, she could be a character to do that to maybe help really, reboot the Inhumans after the disaster that show was on ABC. So I think that she'd be a great idea. And my last one, I'm going with Valkyrie. So the theme of this is all females, and I think in the time and the climate we're in, I think it's important to show female empowerment. These are all powerful female figures, and I think Valkyrie was a breakout star in another super popular movie from Marvel, which was Thor Ragnarok. Tessa Thompson is a budding star in Hollywood, but I think that she's at the point in her career now where if she did a big time television show, that could really take not only her but whatever companies attached to her to the next level. And I think that she would be a good fit. The world that we kind of were introduced to in Ragnarok was unique and funny and interesting and she's a charismatic character. I think you could kind of have a Jessica Jones light with someone like her in terms of her wit and kind of her attitude. I think it'd be great. So those are my characters. I got the Dora Milaje, I got Miss Marvel, and Valkyrie.
Nice list. I'll give you mine. My first show is going to be something that's been pitched, it seems like, for well over a decade. Something that's had a TV show already. I'm going to go with The Incredible Hulk.
Wow.
I feel like, I don't know what the whole legal rights thing is with Universal and them not doing a Hulk movie anymore, not doing Hulk movies anymore, or we're not able to use them on television or not. But assuming they can do an Incredible Hulk show, I think he's the perfect character to introduce, or not introduce, but to introduce on the streaming service. Given if it's a limited series, like a lot of these have been pitched so far, I feel like the budget wouldn't be too big of a concern. Obviously, you can't have the Hulk running around 24/7, for anything, even a movie. But I feel like you're able to use the Hulk sparingly. Bruce Banner is a character we've been introduced to in connection with the Avengers, but we really don't know a lot about Banner's own universe outside of the Incredible Hulk movie that is kind of not canon.
It's almost not canon.
It's not canon anymore.
We don't know much about the Ruffalo Hulk.
Yeah, the Ruffalo Hulk. I think we're kind of supposed to assume it's the same guy, but they don't reference anything, or but beyond Ross, beyond General Ross, they don't really reference anything.
That's the only connection to that movie.
Right. So, getting to know more about that Banner character is something that could be cool. You can introduce other Marvel characters, other Hulk characters. If you wanted to introduce Amadeus Cho as a potential future Hulk, that's something you can do. So there's a lot of different ways they can go with that Hulk show. But my second choice, I'm going to go with the Young Avengers. I think that's something that we have a video talking about, whether or not they're going to introduce the Young Avengers in Avengers 4. Yeah. I still believe that will be the case. That maybe in the future, maybe in the present, I don't know. But regardless, I think we don't really have, besides the Runaways, a team of like teenagers in the MCU. The Runaways are kind of that, but they're so detached, really. Yeah, they're not really.
Hulu, the TV stuff is just so far away from the movie stuff.
Right, and maybe the Runaways play a role in the show. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
That'd be really cool.
Or Cloak and Dagger, but you can set up a universe where we introduce someone like Ms. Marvel potentially. I don't know. I doubt Sony will let them use Miles Morales, but if they did,
that sounds more like Champions.
Right, Miles Morales, the Champions, exactly. Using those characters, but I feel like there are plenty of characters in the MCU that are younger that they could decide to use. You can introduce, or not introduce, but reintroduce S.H.I.E.L.D. or some sort of Nick Fury-led team, a Maria Hill-led team. Maybe the characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There are a lot of ways in which you can go about it, but I imagine there are more superpowered people in the universe than just the Avengers. So I think that's an area in which they could play with. And my last would be another team, but this would be a team of villains. I would say the Masters of Evil. Now, I think that you've got...
Who's the roster?
The roster is interesting. The roster, we might have to do a whole separate video on who should be in the Masters of Evil show. But the first name that came to mind for me was Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo's still around.
That's
they
true.
didn't kill him off. Daniel Bruhl is, an actor that's not like so big to where you can't be on a show like that. And I feel like there are other villains in the MCU. They've killed off a lot of MCU villains. They've kind of done away with a lot of them. There's some you could decide to bring back if you want. I don't know what the deal is with Red Skull. If you see Infinity War, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think you can use him in a show like that.
Knows what his situation is.
But if you could bring the Red Skull back in some capacity, he'd be a cool character to have. But I feel like just the concept of having a team of villains, something they don't have in Marvel, in the MCU. It may be something that they're saving for a future movie in Phase 4, potentially, but...
It's kind of weird that the Avengers movies haven't once gone with the...
Loki's another character.
Right. And they haven't gone with the Avengers team fighting a team of villains thing, which is kind of cool. I think that's a trope that like everyone does. Fight the arch enemies of the team that's a full bunch of heroes just all joined together. Like, that's a trope that we see all the time, and like they've avoided that. So if they're never going to do that, Masters of Evil could be interesting. If they wanted to do that in a movie, it would be fresh because we haven't seen that before from Marvel. So they've kind of, I think they've done a good job with kind of staying away from that for 4 Avengers movies. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Yellow Jacket's dead, right?
I don't remember what the deal with Yellow Jacket.
I feel like he went into the
quantum realm.
Yeah, I feel like
which as long as he's not with what's the name with Wasp, he's toast.
Yeah,
because Wasp seemed to be the only one who knew how to survive that. What did you think of my list and anything that stood out to you in those?
Yeah, I think the Dora Milaje are an interesting team because I look, they're going to do something with Black Panther. You have to think. because I mean we've got a Thor show coming up, two Thor shows that have been pitched already. We've got a Guardian show being pitched. We've got what else do we have? Obviously Captain America kind of spinoff,
thing with
Avengers spinoffs,
and Winter Soldier.
Right. So like the only thing that we don't have right now of like the major groups right now is Black Panther.
Right, because Sony has Spider-Man, so there's not going to be a Spider-Man spinoff.
You know,
and Captain Marvel hasn't come out yet. So
and Doctor Strange is still new. You can do
Strange
Doctor Strange, but it's going to be hard to do Doctor Strange. So Black Panther is the one where, like you said, he arguably is the biggest of them all right now.
Yeah.
And if there's a Black Panther spinoff to do, that one makes the most sense. I mean, I think a Shuri one could also work.
That's true too.
Especially if you wanted to make her the Black Panther at some point, or some sort of Black Panther, you know.
I mean, to me, a character like Shuri could be in the show.
I would envision her being. She'd be in the show anyway. The problem with Valkyrie is, you know, she's a Thor character, and we already have two Thor characters that have been pitched. Lady Sif is a character that's been pitched, as well as Loki, obviously. So I wouldn't want a third Thor character. I think that could be problematic. I mean, I'm not the biggest.
Now, the one
Thor
thing about
fan,
Lady Sif though is that Valkyrie though. One thing about Valkyrie is she really isn't connected. She wasn't connected to the Thor universe really. If you think about it, remember she just showed up in Ragnarok, and they really didn't connect the Valkyries to Asgard.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could do a whole backstory on the Valkyries because remember they were a whole team, and a lot of them were all killed. I don't know if they were. I forgot how they were all killed, but I know she's the kind of the last one.
Right.
So you could so you can even do a story on the Valkyries.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not that I'm worried about the story. It's just like from like a viewer perspective, I'm just like I don't want a third Thor spinoff. But
I see. Real quickly on the Hulk, I would be a little concerned about really all those characters shows. I would be a little concerned about the budget for Hulk.
I don't know what the budget is.
You got to hide a Hulk show. You got to hide the Hulk in the Hulk show. And Masters of Evil, you might, and even Young and Red. I mean, all these characters, I'm assuming they're powered. So, like, that's why the rosters are important, I think, for the two teams.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but ultimately, the budget, assuming they have a limitless budget, which I don't know if they do, but, you know, they seem to be hinting that, you know, with some of these shows that they're doing on the streaming service for both Star Wars and Marvel, sounds like their budgets are pretty expansive, so we'll see what they have. But that'll do it for us here with this video. If you like this video, you should click the like button and comment down below, and listen to New Generation Hero Talk podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. But that'll do it for us. For EJ, I am Kendall. Peace.